Hello everyone, the real A-Town aka RGB Fox here, and I'm here to talk about Cyno, Genshin's new 5-star character and premier 5-star electro male guy that we haven't gotten in forever. We truly only have had Razor for like the longest time, and now we have this boy right here. I mean, look at him, he looks magnificent. This is going to be the post-analysis. I think that it's important to discuss whether or not Cyno is truly viable or if he's just going to be mid, and for that matter, I've detailed a showcase where I have a few teams that I've tested out, specifically this one too, Double Geo Aggravate, just because I think it's actually pretty neat, plus Yunjin being able to facilitate the normal attack damage is nice, but that'll be as we go on further. Now, for the purposes of this video, I have him on the Scarlet Sands, right? As you guys can tell, level 90 Cyno, so you can do the maximum amount of aggravate damage. Not too much elemental mastery. I could of course move him to that, but again, for the sake, I just wanted to showcase these stats. The artifact set that I have on him is Thundering Fury, just because I think Thundering Fury is overall his best set, and also being able to have multiple procs of your skill is just going to alleviate any like drawbacks that you would have. Why? Well, if we look at his talents, you can see that his A1 will increase the damage of his elemental skill, plus give you 3 like Duststalker bolts that will deal damage based on what like his attack, and then this of course is going to increase the damage from his skill by 150% of his EM, as well as his Duststalker bolts by 250%. So it definitely is worth building elemental mastery on him, especially if you have a low base attack weapon such as the Steps of Scarlet Sands. And you know, if you utilize an attack Sands, it's definitely better to try to give him something like the Jade Spear, or maybe even with Staff of Homa. But if you're having low base attack weapons such as the Deathmatch, and maybe even the Katane Crossbeard, the White Tassel, and of course Scarlet Sands, I would recommend Elemental Mastery. But again, for the purposes of this video, we're going to use his best in slot. We're going to have him on 82-200. We could definitely do better on the energy recharge, but I just got to keep farming. 61% electro damage bonus that is given from not only his goblet but also from the 2-piece Thundering Fury set, right? And yeah, let's go on and talk about it. Now, the first team that I decided to use is this Double Geo Aggravate team, with Yunjin being the second Geo unit. She'll be able to give you a lot more damage on your normal attacks, and you'll be able to ultimately, in the short run at the very least, deal more damage in your rotations. However, do note that you are limited to about 30 seconds, whereas other buffs may last longer. But then again, Cyno is a character that stays on field for at least 15 seconds, maximum 18. You want to be able to hit those skills in the burst for a long amount of time, because you have to. That's where you get the majority of your damage. You get the Duststalker bolts, you get the increase in damage from his A4, and what this team does is it gives you the 15% damage increase that you get when you're shielded with Double Geo. Not only that, Zhongli gives you the 20% resistance shred for everything, you know, elements and physical, and of course Dendro should be added. Now, Traveler is going to be able to facilitate the Dendro off field. Because Quicken lasts for at least 7 to 9 seconds, you'll be able to hit a lot of aggravate numbers over a period of time. And I think this team specifically, because of Yunjin's I think it's her C4, but it could be her C6, where she increases the rate of speed in which you attack. While yes, you will still have hit lag, you'll be able to attack a little bit faster, meaning that you'll be able to have a few more aggravate procs that happen a lot quicker, because you are going to be hitting the threshold for the ICD cooldown, right? Now, this team still has its faults, right? You know, if you don't have any form of healing whatsoever, if the shield breaks, then you are kind of at a loss, right? It also has energy issues, which is why both my Yunjin and my Traveler have Favonius weapons. The extra particles definitely come in handy, as you can see right here. Of course, Zhongli could also be put on Favonius, but at that point, who really cares? I would rather give him the Black Tassel, give him some more HP, make it tankier. That way, in the off chance that it does break, it happens a lot later rather than sooner. So yeah, my rating for this team is probably a solid A. It's a safe pick, and I don't think you could go wrong with it. The only thing that I would say is if you don't have someone like Yunjin, you could use Beidou, right? You know, off-field Geo. He can give you Elemental Mastery for about 10 seconds, and that can also gear you to do more Aggravate damage, because Aggravate scales off of crit, attack, Elemental Mastery, and of course your level. Never forget that. It is an additive reaction. So that's this team. Solid A. Now, the following team is going to be another Aggravate team, and of course you notice me using Dendro Traveler in all of these teams. That's because he is the best off-field Dendro applier. I do not want to hear any comments about Kale. She just can't compare, really. Here we have Fischl to be able to help you out in getting energy particles back as soon as possible, and as you can see, this is where one of the first issues with the team is found. That is the lack of survivability. You have no shielding. You also have no healing. So whenever you fight against opponents, you got to be really careful that you do a good job in switching in and out, so you know, you don't get affected by the damage as much. Basically what I'm trying to say is he does have a great deal of interruption resistance in his burst. Sometimes you are not going to notice whenever you actually get hit until you actually get thrown off. As you can see right above, it just happened. Now this could be again mitigated just by dodging at the right time, but a lot of people like myself are used to having some form of healing in the team or some form of shielding. Of course, I have Zhongli, Diona, Toma in many instances. Not only that, I have Kokumi nowadays, I have Xingqiu's Rain Swords occasionally, and Bennett. So it's kind of hard to really adjust to this team as quickly as possible. You see me having to go heal every now and then, and it's gonna happen. If you want to take this team to Abyss, you gotta be really precise in how you avoid the damage that you get. That being said, this team still suffers from a lot of issues. As you can see, I do have Sucral's Burst, giving me the electro damage bonus that I would get normally through it because of C6. However, it doesn't last very long. You're going to lose that damage bonus very quickly. Even though she does give you Elemental Mastery, it doesn't last for that long, like I said. And that's the main issue with Cyno, is that you're going to lose out on a bunch of DPS unless like he had like a shorter burst uptime, right? But he doesn't. It will be 18 seconds. You're probably going to want to have him at 18 seconds, and it just makes the most sense. So that's how I feel personally about this team. I give it a B ranking. Not very solid, not the worst team in the world, but you can make it work, I'm pretty sure. Just not against this boss, because look at that. It's too much damage taken. Now, the following team is going to be a Taser team, and short and simple is going to be dual Hydro, dual Electro. The dual Hydro is there to give you a little bit of extra HP, not just because, you know, you can live a little bit longer, but because Yelan benefits from having HP, as that is her main source of damage, along with like the crit stats, right? Fischl is here to be able to not only give you a lot of energy particles, but also have a lot of good on-field single target damage, right? And that's why we love her so much, especially with her A4 passive. She gets to constantly apply Electro, easy peasy, works really well with Cyno. The Electro Resonance is going to thus create more particles for you and lead you to need a lot less energy than you normally would. Now, this is basically my favorite team to use with him, sometimes with Fish, sometimes with Beidou, and I'll address the, you know, team with Beidou later on. But yeah, overall, I do rate this team a solid A. I like it a lot. The only drawback is that Fischl as a character doesn't have her Oz last on field that long, so you're going to lose out in not only damage, but energy generation. You should be more than fine with it though, 100%. And again, if you equip your Yelan with Elegy, you're going to be able to have an Elemental Mastery boost along with 20% extra attack, meaning that this team doesn't fall very far behind from his best teams, okay? This one, A++. Now, this wouldn't be a Cyno team discussion if I did not have arguably one of the best teams for him, or at least that's what SirJeff77 says, and that is Cynational, Cyno National, whatever you'd like to call it. You have Zhangling, Bennett, Xingqiu, and then of course your Electro driver. I wouldn't say driver, but definitely the on-field damage dealer being Cyno, being able to proc overloads, electro charge along with the vaporizes off-field. This team is good. Like, look at that. I can almost melt through the Geo Vishap as quickly as I have to. That's really it. I mean, your off-field characters are doing a lot of the carrying as well. So yeah, if you wanted to use them in National, do know that you will need a lot of energy, right? Because there's hardly any energy buildup that you'll be able to have. So maybe something like, I don't know, an energy recharge stand would be decent, but of course, you're going to lose out on a lot of damage. So work with the ratios, try to get some good substat rolls as well, and I can guarantee you that it'll be great. And that's basically it. I'm done talking about this team. National, National, National. Now, I addressed it previously, I'm going to address it again. You can play the Taser team with Beidou, and in fact, it probably does better in a lot of circumstances compared to the one with Fish. Number one, the burst that Beidou has lasts a lot longer, right? It lasts a total of about, I think, 15 seconds, meaning that you won't lose much damage when you're doing it off field with Cyno as you would with Fischl, because with Fischl, you might have about 8 seconds of damage loss. However, with Beidou, it ends up being more like 3 to 4 seconds, right? Because of course his burst has time before it activates, right? Like everyone else's. But yeah, not only that, Beidou at C2 gives you a shield, coupled along with her Lightning Dragon damage resistance, along with Xingqiu's Rain Sword's damage resistance. You're looking at about 80%, right? Along with Xingqiu's healing, you're going to be able to heal off a lot of the damage that you take anyway, and the survivability in the team is like inherently better. Not only that, at C6, she will give you that 15% electro resistance shred, which means that you're going to be doing a lot of damage. Not as good as Zhongli's, obviously, but still good enough. And the Lightning Dragons are going to be able to hit multiple enemies, which means that your access to AoE damage increases further, because the Chain Lightnings are able to jump from opponent to opponent, alongside the electro charges being able to affect multiple enemies in a single vicinity, meaning that your lack of crowd control is not as apparent with this team in the long run, right? And I think, again, as you increase constellations, you get an extra wave of chain lightning damage to spread from not just 2 people or 2 enemies, but 3 enemies. So this team is also pretty solid. Just know that you might need a little bit more energy, because Beidou herself is not a great battery, but I would say she suffices with Electro Resonance. Now, truly, my final thoughts on Cyno is that he's a very fun character if you just like want a, you know, a fun character to play. That's basically it. I don't think that he's as worth as many people think. And he's definitely a lot lower on the scale from what I would say, especially when, you know, you factor in the fact that if you have a Red Shogun, she kind of does his job way better. She's able to do a lot of damage in a short time frame. She's able to boost her own damage as well. She's able to battery herself and rather successfully. And, you know, for that matter, I just wanted to demonstrate this right here where, yeah, she's gonna do just as great, if not better, than Cyno in this circumstance. I mean, you know, you get the ability to actually dodge the attacks and you know, not lose as much damage as you would dodging multiple attacks from Cyno. And that is my final verdict. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give me a like, share your thoughts with me, and let me know what you think. Of course, follow me on Twitch if you would like, at RGB Fox on Twitch, and if not, I mean, that's cool. At the moment, I've been rarely streaming just because I've been so busy with school, but I just wanted to put this video out there because I really felt like it's something that I wanted to make, since, you know, it's just important to detail out there. Don't spend your money if you really can't. There will be other times when Cyno comes out and you'll be able to pull for him then. If not, trust me, don't trip. Don't pull for him if you want like a good main DPS or whatever you would call a main DPS. He's not that worth it. That's it. See ya.